You are now listening to The Couch on 24/7 Miami with your hosts, Chubby Dubby, Clem December,
Baby Clem. December, it's Clem time.
and your boy Coleman.
Coleman, I had the most absurd nightmare. I was poor and no one liked me.
Let's go.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Yes.
Hey, strangers. How's it going out there in Radio Land?
Oh, hello.
You are listening to The Couch, coming to you live Tuesdays from the brand new, beautiful Pembroke Pines studio of Connecticut School of Broadcasting. Got to give a shout out to CSB. The new facilities are actually pretty nice. They are gracious enough to allow us on the airwaves here. It's been a little while since we've talked to you guys.
It has been.
All of our loyal listeners, you know, they were moving the campus for probably the past 3 weeks, and then prior to that, we had some, scheduling conflicts. And
Yeah.
it's the boring days of summer. There wasn't a whole lot going on, anyways, right?
Yeah, we took vacation.
We
went on crazy vacations.
It's a stressful job, Sometimes we got to take a vacation. I just came back from Lake Placid, actually.
Okay, so you did take a vacation.
Correct. We got a little bit crazy. Me and 25 to 26 of my friends all rented out a beautiful lakeside cottage. I'll go ahead and give them a shout out later on in the show. One of our new sponsors. They're not aware of it.
Oh, nice. Those are my favorite sponsors.
But you can listen to us on YouTube. We're going to try to continue to broadcast on 247miami.tv. Unfortunately, we are not on there right now. But you can get the link at the couch_Miami on Twitter, the couch_radio on Instagram, right?
Current.
Yeah. So
that's all facts.
One other thing, we are actually missing one of our compadres. It turns out that this drive is a little bit too far for Manny at the moment.
The new studio is about 2 hours from where Manny is at right now.
So we're going to figure that out as well. We'll have him back with us eventually at some point. But we are going to come at you hard with a lot of NFL.
Yes.
We are in the
NFL is in the air.
Second week of preseason.
Yeah, just after the second week. NFL is right around the corner. It's an amazing time of year and makes me happy.
A lot of things have happened in the NFL.
I'm only happy for 4 months a year,
Yeah.
So it's about to start.
I like the NBA, though. I really do.
Yeah, you know what's funny about that, though? This coming year, Dan Le Batard brought this up. You can just skip this season, give the Warriors the trophy, because next offseason is when the NBA is going to break loose and LeBron might end up in LA, and who knows, Carmelo and the Banana Boat Boys might end up somewhere.
Right.
But this coming NBA season is going to be chalk.
We'll get into that a little bit later, probably in the second segment, the happenings that happened in the NBA. But more recently, some things have happened with our local football team while we were gone. The Miami Dolphins had a little problem there with the quarterback, Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, it seemed tragic when it first happened. Tannehill went down, non-contact injury, never good.
Right.
But
the same knee that he blew out last season that caused him to miss 4 games, and they waited on surgery, and then his knee fell apart when he decided to scramble towards the sideline.
Right. So maybe they should have had surgery sooner.
I think so. If he would have had the surgery in, what was it, December? Was it December or January where he got hurt? I think it was like towards the end of December.
Yeah.
He would have been out until this upcoming December. So he still would have missed a pretty large portion, if not the majority, if not all of the upcoming season anyways. Now he's going to miss it.
Yeah.
Because he elected to have the surgery. Are you familiar with the ramifications of his contract and the options that the Dolphins have moving forward?
No, I am not.
So, and this we won't get too heavy on the teeth on this one. But after this season, basically, the Dolphins can cut bait with Ryan Tannehill. They have the option to extinguish the remainder of that contract, which is 2018, 2019, and 2020. Now, a reason why they may not want to do that is because the contract that they signed him to, even though it seemed like it was a lot at the time when they signed the extension, it's actually well below the market value for what a franchise QB tag would be.
Right.
The franchise QB tag is, I think it's 25 to 27 million right now.
Yeah.
He's going to be making in the final 3 years of his contract 57 million, around 19 million a year. So that's a bargain if you think that he can be serviceable.
Right.
If you don't think that he's serviceable and you have the time to get out, it's actually, there's not a lot of dead money on the cap if they decide that they want to get out from under it. Now, what they did in the meantime is they signed one of my favorite quarterbacks, Jay Cutler,
yes,
to a 1 year, $10 million deal.
An ultimate favorite of the show.
Yes.
We love Jay Cutler around here. I've always liked Jay Cutler's gunslinging attitude.
The gunslinger.
I also love his could care less attitude.
Correct.
And you know what, man? I think the Dolphins are in the same spot, if not a little bit of a better spot. I think Jay Cutler's a better quarterback than Tannehill. I'll say that. He's had a 13-3 season where he's gone to an NFC championship. He was a first round, I know Tannehill was a first round pick, but he's been in the league a long time and he's done more than Tannehill's ever done. And frankly, I don't think we're in a worse place. Like, yeah, when Tannehill got hurt, I was like, oh man, of course this would happen right when we have an optimistic season. Every year is optimistic, it seems these days, and
right.
Until it's not. Right. And so, of course, but then boom, signed Jay Cutler, which seemed like the only move. I mean, no one's going to sign Kaepernick right now.
Right.
And then the only other option was Tony Romo. But I'd rather have Jay Cutler. I think there's a few injuries that hurt. Raekwon McMillan was probably supposed to start, if not play a lot of snaps for that defense.
Right.
Our second round pick, so that hurts. Tony Lippett, who would have been a rotational corner, probably the fourth or fifth corner, he went down, so that hurts.
He started last season, didn't he, Lippett?
Tony Lippett, I don't think so. I think he's always been a rotational guy. I think last year was Byron Maxwell and Xavier Howard. Did he start?
I don't think so. I think it was Lippett.
Maybe Tony Lippett did start. Okay, so
he did.
But I think this year Xavier Howard's going to –
right?
Yeah. So, but, okay, from Jay Cutler – same thing. We should win 9. If we steal a couple, we should win 10 or 11 games.
Yeah. ESPN has them projected at 9-7. The strength of schedule stuff in the NFL is weird because there's so much turnover on teams. So it's really, I think it's difficult to really, I don't really go on that sort of stuff a lot. But according to ESPN, they have the 6th toughest schedule in the NFL. We'll see how that goes. I think that for this season, Jay Cutler has the potential to do better than what we could have expected from Ryan Tannehill. He certainly has that potential. A lot of people said that Ryan Tannehill wasn't really necessarily great at throwing the deep ball. I don't necessarily agree with that.
That's all Cutler does, baby.
Right. And that's exactly what Cutler does. Now, that's not exactly what the Gase offense, what he has talked about wanting to do. He wants to run the ball a lot more. He wants to sort of cram it down people's throat. But Jay Cutler gives it the option to sort of fling it around a little bit. Now, he could have some turnovers. He's
falling in love with Devontae Parker,
right?
Who he's calling a faster Alshon Jeffries,
right? And
which is amazing.
Is it Devontae's 3rd year?
It's Devontae's 3rd year, right? He's like a former 10th overall pick.
Basically, his first year was a wash,
right?
With
and
injuries.
Then last year he came along slowly,
right?
Started really playing well at the end of the year, and now he's just blowing people away in camp. And what is great about it is Jarvis Landry is like a better Wes Welker. Like, he's a slot receiver.
Right.
Will play. He's a possession guy across the middle, always going to get you 6-7 yards. He's going to catch almost 100 balls. It's not going to be for 1,400 yards, but it'll be for 1,000. But he's going to catch 100 balls. He'll
occasionally break one, but for the most part, that's exactly what he is there to do.
Right. So he's a more athletic Wes Welker. In the previous couple years, we've needed Jarvis Landry to be our best receiver. But that's not what he's suited for. What he's suited for is being Wes Welker.
Right.
So Devontae Parker, he has a wide receiver one type year, and the offense should be pretty productive. Jay Ajayi already had a head injury.
Yeah, that's a little bit concerning.
That's concerning.
The Jay Ajayi coming off a year that does not seem all that sustainable, then suffering a head injury, then the Dolphins are annually having issues with the offensive line. It seems
he started 12 games. I think maybe more. I know he sat out. He didn't travel week 1 last year.
Right.
And I don't know how many games I think the number in my head is something around he started or played heavily in like 12 games.
Okay.
And he had 1,200 yards, but he had like 800 yards in 3 games.
Right.
So the other 9 games, he had less than 600 yards.
Right. And then the final game versus the Steelers in the playoffs, he basically did nothing.
So we're expecting a lot from him. The offensive line is kind of always an issue. Hopefully we've shored it up in the last few years with the Tunsil move to, we drafted him. He's at left tackle now. Juwan James seems to be kind of a staple at right tackle for the last couple of years. And Pouncey needs to stay healthy. Those 3 players, left tackle, center, right tackle, you plug and play at guard, find whoever's playing healthy, you stick any healthy guards in there, you should be all right.
Right. And so I would say that I think 9-7, 10-6 is actually a realistic goal. Like you said, if you steal a game here or there,
you win 11, 12, yeah.
You could win 11 or 12 games, make it to the playoffs. What do you think the direction the Dolphins go in, say, Jay Cutler leads them to a playoff berth, which will be their first back-to-back playoff berth. I think since, what is it, 2001 season is the last time they went to the playoffs? 2 years in a row?
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Something like that. But so then what do they do with Tannehill moving forward?
Right, so you mentioned that in the next offseason they can cut ties with him.
Correct.
So you're right. So if Jay Cutler plays really well, it does bring up a situation where, Jay Cutler, you're not going to sign to a 5-year.
No, he's 34. He'll be 35 at the beginning of next season.
You'll be signing him to 1 to 2 year contracts.
Right.
So I guess if you're going to move forward with Jay Cutler for 1 to 2 years, you sign him to a 2-year contract, and then draft a quarterback.
Right.
They're in
the
which
situation.
I would be totally cool with. Look, I've been defending Tannehill. I've been defending Tannehill because he was our quarterback, but if he's not my quarterback, no sweat off my back either. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like I'll defend my guy if he's my guy, but it's just because you're my guy. If you're not my guy, I don't really care.
Right. And so I think they're in a weird situation because they would like to think that they have Tannehill as their franchise QB, but you don't know if he's necessarily good enough. And he's going to be cheaper than the other option, but is he really good enough? Is he going to lead you to a Super Bowl, which is the ultimate goal?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, but what else is out there?
But the team that they're building under Gase is trying to win now. This is not a huge rebuild. This is we're adding little pieces here and there, trying to shore up what we're doing here, and hopefully, go at the number 1 spot. See if we can get the Patriots out of the division there.
That's all you got to do is, hey, Jay Cutler's the kind of guy that he could get hot. And, we've seen Eli Manning get hot and win Super Bowls. We've seen Joe Flacco. Is Joe Flacco better than Jay Cutler? The guy gets hot and he wins a Super Bowl.
Right.
That's how it goes. No one's going to there's only 2 teams that play in the Super Bowl, and it's almost always the 2 teams that are just either like playing the best defense or they've got the best quarterback at the time. Doesn't even have to be the best quarterback of the season. It just has to be the best quarterback of January.
Right.
So, yeah, I do think that Jay Cutler has that in him. Okay, another thing about Jay Cutler is, for me, I am a huge change of scenery guy. All right. I think guys thrive when they get out of bad situations. Jay Cutler's up in Chicago. They're not winning. It's cold up there. That's got to be miserable. When your job is to win football games and you're not winning football games, and then you don't get another chance to do that for another week, and it's just cold and miserable, you get tired of that. Come on down to South Beach where it's never cold. You know, you got your beautiful wife. She can be in a bikini all the time.
Kristen Cavallari.
That's what I'm saying. The Mrs. Laguna Beach. Come to South Beach, change the scenery. I think it works wonders for guys. And look, I'm all aboard. I know Jay is the J train, but I'm all aboard the Jay Cutler train.
Yeah, and so he even said so much, I believe, after the last preseason game that he played, and somebody talked to him. I think somebody talked to him, actually. This quote is coming from Monday, saying that basically the injuries and the losing up in Chicago got to him, and that's why he was like, all right, I'll take a position in the booth because I don't want to get my ass handed to me and lose for the Bears any longer. So this is a change of scenery. This is exactly, and he said that he even said so himself. He felt like he was rejuvenated by another opportunity,
right,
somewhere else.
So okay, so let me ask you this though, because someone put this thought in my head and I hadn't considered it. What if Jay Cutler gets, gets smacked around for 4 weeks and the Dolphins are, God forbid, 1-3, 2-2, and Jay Cutler's like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go back to the booth. Right? Then what do the Dolphins do? But no, I don't think that'll happen. I think Jay Cutler I think he still wanted to play football. He just didn't want to be in Chicago anymore. And when you're under contract, you can't just leave.
Right.
Or I don't know, was he still under contract?
No.
He just didn't really, there's no opportunities. I mean, look, Kaepernick can't get signed. I think he's the best. Well, there's a whole different things going on there. But.
Right. But so there was not really a starting opportunity for Cutler until Tannehill went down.
Right.
Basically all the positions are filled, even though some of them, like the Browns, might be questionable. But
yeah. But you don't even want to go there anyways.
Right. He go work for the Browns.
Yeah. You're gonna leave
in Cleveland.
You're gonna leave Chicago and go to Cleveland.
Right.
Talk about being cold and always losing.
Right. But I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I honestly as much as you and I both, and how everybody around us, we all try to defend Tannehill, but it's very vanilla. The offense with Ryan Tannehill is very. It's not super exciting. Like. Last year was a good season. We made it to the playoffs. He wasn't there at the end, whatever. But Jay Cutler just brings, like we said, the gunslinger, the flinging the ball around.
Dude, I feel like it does. He's a former Pro Bowler, man.
I'm excited to see it. I am excited. I haven't been excited for a Miami Dolphins season in a very long time. I'm a little bit amped up. I'm a little bit hyped up for this upcoming season.
I am too.
Hopefully, they don't let me down.
Okay, we'll be right back with some more. We'll just a smorgasbord of stuff.
We'll be right back on the couch, just in time for you to get a cold one.
Yeah. Can you see now? Can you see now? Oh! No, really, my stepmom's not. I'm playing Freddie Mercury, shaded like some curtains be. And my fate is certainly, I need the money urgently. All I see is green and green around me like a nursery. Currently, a little bit of spitter, that's that currency. Tell me how you heard of me, how on point the verses be. I'm not the best with virtually, I'm grinding like a worker bee. Chick be out of mind, she thinks she finna get a purse from me. Like she the one that's in here putting in this work for me. I put lyrics on wax, that's my heart and my soul. Let go of the past, surprise how far you can go. Not saying it's facts, that's just what I've been told. Didn't say it you asked, I just thought you should know. And I ain't got no time for a hater. Can't feel you like I'm smoking on the vape, like smoking on the vape. And I ain't got no time for a boy talking down, use a motherfucking faker, Can you see now? Can you see now? Can you see it? Yeah, can you see now? When you see me, baby, don't be acting see now. Can you see now? Can you see it? Can you see now? Can you see now? When you see me, baby, don't be acting see now. Okay, what the status of it? What the lick read? I make magic of these lines, Roy and Siegfried. I never backed it on a bus, I was a big dweeb. Now I get on tracks and I just bust, should be in big leagues. Had to get my mind and money right, so glad I went to school. Plus it taught me how to handle booze, become a man of rule. Ran the campus even when I panicked about finances. Never thought the Lord would stand it. It's a chance that I've been granted. I swear I go so hard. That's that shit they don't like. And I swear yo girl so slob. That's that bitch I won't wipe. So peculiar is my whole life. I'm familiar with them strobe lights. I got 7 bottles and 6 mollies for 5 days. It's like 4 nights. Okay, MySpace but no website. My time, get your clock checked. I'm shit-faced for my next flight. I board the plane with that pop breath. When I open my hammered eyes, I got a hand job through my backpack. I hope my bitch ain't camera shy, cause I give her something to look back at. Like, can you see now? Can you see it? Can you see now?
All right, we are going to get right back into it with one of my favorite segments. This segment is actually brought to you by Lakeside Cottages in Lake Placid, Florida, a vacation resort nestled in the heart of Central Florida on beautiful sandy bottom lake clay, perfect for bass fishing, boating, swimming, and water sports. Lakeside Cottages is the perfect spot for a romantic retreat, family vacation, or corporate gathering. Visit lakeplacidcottages.com for more information and start making memories today.
That sounds amazing.
And now, quick hits. Quick hits.
Okay, Quick Hits is back, and I will start it off. I'm sure you heard this. This is from a few weeks ago, but I kind of thought about it, and I thought it'd be funny to talk about. So, Doug Marrone. Do you remember Doug Marrone saying how much they wanted to pass? He said he wished he could run the ball every single play.
Doug Marrone is the Jaguars head coach?
Jaguars head coach.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm surprised that you
knew that.
I should have said Jaguars coach Doug Marrone, because who knew? I thought that was still Gus Bradley.
Yeah,
I didn't know that Doug Marrone.
I was on the fence of whether or not he was the Bills head coach or the Jags head coach.
Yeah. So he said that he would run the ball every play of the game if he could, and I think he was pretty serious, which is not a huge vote of confidence for your quarterback, Blake Bortles.
Right.
And also what happened in Jacksonville was Brandon Albert retired, right? And it's almost like he was just like, I'm not just going to chase down defenders all year. But then
so he retired after they said that?
He retired like the day after Blake Bortles threw like 5 interceptions,
right,
in a like 15 play 7-on-7,
right,
like like throwing interceptions at a ridiculous clip,
which bad games happen. I believe he followed that up with like 21 of 22 or something like that in the next game that he played, but I think it's pretty safe to say that the Jaguars are probably in the last stages.
Wait, 21 of 22 when? In a preseason game recently?
No, it was like the practice after the one that he did really bad.
Oh, okay. He
followed it up with a pretty good performance, but that's also practice. It's also a scrimmage. So,
but then Brandon Albert realized how much money he was going to have to give back to the Jaguars.
So he unretired.
So he tried to come back, and I don't think they're like, no, dude.
They cut him.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He probably loses all that money.
Speaking of the Jaguars, did you hear about Dante Fowler?
No. I thought he was going to return this year after missing his rookie season.
Dante Fowler has been charged with 3 misdemeanors for allegedly punching a man, stomping on his glasses, and then throwing his groceries in a lake in St. Petersburg.
Oh, man. So
the defensive end was allegedly driving in a St. Petersburg apartment complex parking lot when the man made a comment about his driving, exited his vehicle, punched the guy in the face. His glasses fell off. He stomped on him. He grabbed his groceries and threw them in a lake. So now he's actually, it happened so recently that he hasn't even had a chance to go to trial or be arraigned or whatever, So that the initial hearing, I believe, is going to be on September either 11th or 12th after the Jaguars play their first game.
So what could that result in? That's a fine, right?
I think so. I mean, it's all misdemeanors. It's not like any of it is a felony. It said that he could face up to a year in jail. We all know that that's not going to happen.
That's just like super ruthless. Like, stomp your glasses out. Now you can't see all these groceries you just paid for.
Goodbye groceries
in the lake.
Right.
Like, it's not like, well, he did punch him, which is kind of vicious, but
I don't know. They didn't really say what the extent of the injuries were.
Yeah, how hard he could have just knocked his glasses off his face.
Them. Right.
Yeah, but come on, Dante Fowler.
So he'll probably be facing some sort of disciplinary actions
from the league.
Yeah, I doubt that he's going to get any sort of real jail time or anything like that from the police. But
go Gators.
Yeah.
All right, I got what do I got here? I got something good. Oh, Miami Heat and Dwayne Wade collision course.
I believe so.
Yeah, he. The big news today is that he just re-enrolled his kids back into their South Florida schools.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Were they here? Were they still down here last season while he was in Chicago?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I think
Zaire
a
and
few months ago, it was news that he had unenrolled them from their Chicago schools. So I think they were in school in Chicago.
right. Okay.
And so I heard that the number is the Bulls want to buy him out for like $4 million when he just opted into a $21 million contract.
Right. They're going to have to meet somewhere in the middle there, but I think
they the Bulls hold the cards. If Dwayne Wade doesn't agree to their buyout, fine, play with us or sit the bench for all we care.
right. And
Chicago has no like obligations to Dwayne Wade to do anything, kind of like how the Heat do. You know what I mean?
right. No, they certainly don't have to do anything. I think that they'll probably meet somewhere in the middle, somewhere between 4 and 21. I would say it would behoove them to get him out of there for any discounted rate. Just, obviously the owners, I mean, they traded a draft pick to the Warriors for like $3 million or something crazy like that. Like the owner obviously wants to save money. They are in a rebuild. They don't need Dwayne Wade on the bench, backing up Zach LaVine when Zach LaVine eventually comes back. Like they are in the process of a full rebuild. No more Jimmy Butler. Dwayne Wade doesn't want to play there anymore. I think that it's only a matter of time. We'll see how long it goes. But then the way that the buyouts work, are you familiar with this at all? Once a player has been bought out from a contract that he's on, basically he's free to sign wherever he wants to for however much he wants to. There's free agents, and the collective bargaining agreement won't allow players as free agents to just sign wherever they want to for however much money, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, obviously it's up to the team, it's up to the whatever, but there's pay scale restrictions. If a player gets bought out, he can come to the Heat for the league minimum.
Right. Yeah, that's what they're talking about. The Heat have this 4.5 like mid-level exception that they're waiting to use on someone.
Right.
Which would be if they could get Dwayne Wade to play for that.
Right. I think he's going to come back here eventually anyways. He's going to have a statue out in front of the arena one day. It's just a matter of time, whether it happens this season or if it happens next season. I believe Dwayne Wade will be back in a Heat uniform.
Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most surprised, how surprised are you that a picture went viral of Donald Trump squinting at the eclipse?
Oh man.
It is the most Donald Trump thing. Like when you just picture Donald Trump, you picture him staring at the sun, squinting, burning his eyes.
Right. After
what do you mean? It's just the sun.
Every single scientist on Twitter and on the internet said, do not look at the sun. They were selling special glasses, And
he just straight up stares at this, like looks up right at the sun.
Right. I mean,
he's such an idiot. That's our commander in chief.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny yesterday.
And then, yesterday was pretty interesting. I mean, I'm not a nerd, so I didn't really care too much. I mean, the moon going in front of the sun, I thought that was nighttime, but it was just all the precautions were like the big thing, like the dogs telling, like, keep your dogs inside. Your dog doesn't look up at the sun on Monday, on Tuesday. You know what I mean? Like,
I would say, from what I was expecting, it was pretty anticlimactic. Like, I saw a little squint of the moon out in my backyard a little bit. I thought that the sun was going to be blacked out.
Yeah, that was going to be. Well, did you see the video of the South Carolina football team, like at the top of the stadium?
No.
It got pretty dark in South Carolina.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we were out of the scope of 100%.
Yeah.
But I still thought that it was going to be a little bit darker than it actually was. Just looked like a cloudy day. So back to the NFL, and this has a lot of fantasy implications and ramifications. While we were gone, Ezekiel Elliott was suspended for the first 6 games of the season.
Right.
They said it's just for the domestic violence allegations. but I think that it was a multitude of things.
Like pulling some chick's titty out.
He did that. He also supposedly punched a DJ. He's been being an all around sort of a menacing, not very nice person.
Yeah, just going around, kind of doing the typical athlete, acting however he wants. I thought 6 games was a little harsh, considering you really are punishing the guy for his kind of stupid things, because I don't know, the girlfriend or nothing was charged there or anything. And I know the NFL always says like we don't need like legal convictions to suspend players, but that suspension seems a little bit like it kind of had, it was just like, dude, stop being an idiot.
It's hard to really be able to pin down exactly what Roger Goodell thinks, because I mean, you have Ray Rice knocking out his girlfriend in an elevator on video, and he got 2 games at the time. Games. I mean, he ended up being, blackballed basically from the league for it. And I mean, look, you can't go around punching women, especially if you're going to do it. You can't get caught on tape doing it.
Yeah, look out for cameras.
But I think part of the reason why he got the 6-game suspension, I believe, why the hammer came down so hard on him, so to speak, is setting an example. Okay, the Dallas Cowboys are like top 2 most popular NFL teams. I think they might be one of the most sports franchises globally from the United States. And so you have everybody's watching, looking to see exactly what's going to happen with this guy. They've had issues in the past. They've gotten a lot of backlash for the way that they've handled all of these different suspensions for players doing things differently. Leonard Little a long time ago killed a couple of people in a couple of different DUI accidents, and nothing ended up happening. Ray Rice punches his girlfriend. He gets 2 games. Adrian Peterson disciplines his kid.
Gets a year.
You know what I mean? So
it's some things don't always add up.
It's hard to pin it down, but I feel like the 6 games, I'm not totally against it. I feel like 6 games is okay.
I think it's going to get reduced to 4.
Okay. That's right. He has appealed it.
I think it's going to get reduced to 4, and he'll serve 4. As far as fantasy goes, that drops him down from a top 5 pick to a, you reach on him you either reach on him early second,
right,
or, mid to, someone's going to take him by the end of the 2nd round.
I think so. I think that it's a reach. When you're talking about standard fantasy, so you're saying regular season, there's 13 games standard. So he's going to miss the first 6 games if the appeal doesn't get.
If it's 6, then 6 is almost half of a fantasy regular season.
6, and then the bye week is week 7. So you will be missing out on the first 7 weeks of who's supposed to be your premier running back. Now, if you can manage to make the playoffs, he obviously would be a great help during weeks 14, 15, and 16. I just don't, I haven't done a lot of mock drafts. I haven't really gotten real heavy into Yahoo or any of the fantasy stuff just yet. Like probably this week is when it'll all start.
Yeah.
Start doing some mock drafts, start putting things together. But I think that, people are going to reach. And if we're talking 7 games, 7 out of 13, that's more than half.
You know what's interesting about the Cowboys, I noticed too, just on the subject, they're actually really deep at running back, and I don't think they're going to miss Ezekiel Elliott particularly much. It looks like Darren McFadden has kind of found himself like a second wind in the NFL since coming to he didn't go anywhere in between the Raiders and the Cowboys, right?
No.
Okay, so he's been on the Cowboys now for 3 years, and he looks like he's running pretty well in preseason right now. They've got Alfred Morris,
right,
and they signed Ronnie Hillman. So they're pretty deep. So in terms of Zeke's absence, non-fantasy wise, like real life football for the Cowboys, I don't think they're going to miss him as much. Also considering Zeke looks so good behind that offensive line.
Right.
Maybe that offensive line by committee of Darren McFadden and Alfred Morris, those running backs could rush for, what is it, 4 games? If they combine for 400 yards.
Right. And I think that's probably what they'll do. They'll use some sort of a committee approach, which is also, why I'll be steering away from that as far as fantasy is concerned. But
Right.
you know, you never know.
I mean, if you, I don't know, there's a million situations, but like, where would you draft Ezekiel Elliott? Like, if he fell, if you were picking fourth in the third round or midway through the third round and he was still there, would you grab him? Or
I
that's
think
still
so.
too early?
It really depends on how I drafted to that point. If I'm able to snag quality running backs with the first couple of picks and then he's still there in the third round, I may do it, because then you have him on the bench. Hopefully one of your other guys does well enough that you can actually afford to trade him when Zeke does come back. Who knows? I don't know. You got anything else on the NFL?
NFL. Okay. I mean, this is random, but have you heard that in 4 years they're facing a work stoppage?
No.
You haven't heard that? DeMaurice Smith. Okay, well, I was hoping you had anything on that because I don't really know details on it, but DeMaurice Smith said he expects a work stoppage when the current CBA is up in 2021.
Okay.
So, I mean,
I can only speculate.
And I also saw another quote from the NFL player. I think Eric Winston, formerly of an offensive lineman for the Chiefs,
correct,
is like the NFLPA president.
Yes.
And he also said something today, like they're not concerned about a work stoppage. They're, it sounds like they're going to try and do what's right by the players, which, I mean, it sounds like the players probably want more money. They're seeing all these NBA players and the freaking conglomerate that the NFL is. I'm sure this has something to do with the players wanting a bigger slice of the pie.
So what I was going to say is, and I can only speculate on this because I haven't actually read in detail any of the issues, but I do know that a large issue with the NFLPA and the players is the guaranteed contracts. In the NBA, contracts are fully guaranteed. In baseball, contracts are fully guaranteed. A lot of the NFL contracts that you have, they sign a 4-year deal, but it's usually a 1 or a 2-year deal. And we just talked about the ability for them to be able to opt out of Ryan Tannehill's contract with the Dolphins. They want more guaranteed money, and it's harder because it's different because there's 53 people on the roster, and you're gonna lose some of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's a big point of contention. I know that for a fact.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, these people are, the owners are making so much money.
Yeah,
they're all making so much money. There's no way they stop this thing. There's no way
they'll hammer something out.
Yeah.
There's no way that they can possibly have NFL contracts be fully guaranteed the way that they do have in the NBA or, in baseball, like we said, but they would like it to be closer to that sort of thing is what I believe. And then, so the owners, this has been going on for a while. The owners have been talking about wanting 18 regular season games. So there's things on both sides,
right?
We'll see. Like I said, I mean, good thing that there's 4 years before we have to worry about it.
Right. Okay. And maybe last thing before we go to the final segment, Mayweather-McGregor is this week, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's been a few months since they set the date, and it's finally here. And I will say this, that months ago, I was like, man, McGregor doesn't really have a chance. And, this always happens where there's a heavy favorite, and they're the favorite. And then like a week before, this just happened with Bama Clemson where Bama should win. And then like a few days before the game, people start saying, well, Clemson could win and Clemson kind of, and it starts to become not so lopsided. That's what seems to be feeling like what's happening with this fight is where everyone was like Mayweather. But now people are starting to talk like, oh, what if McGregor throws one punch? McGregor is a knockout guy. Mayweather's never, granted, Mayweather's never really been hit that hard because he's so good at what he does.
Right.
But who knows? McGregor is so confident in himself. And it's just sometimes people like that, it's hard to bet against them. And it's just like, who knows what McGregor is going to go out there and do.
The whole thing has a sort of circus feel to me that has me questioning my thoughts on the way that the fight is going to go. It's not for any belts. It's sanctioned under any sort of
You're right.
real boxing. They're using smaller gloves now. You know what I mean?
It does start to feel like a circus now that
all the hype train, like how many fights have had multi-city press conferences? You know, basically sometimes being racist, but you know we see that out of both of them too.
Well, if it is kind of like it does feel like a circus, and the odds on McGregor are kind of so crazy that like if McGregor wins, Las Vegas would take the biggest hit it's ever taken.
Oh yeah, it would be crazy.
I've heard that, so maybe Las Vegas will make sure that doesn't happen.
It's possible, and I mean this is going to be McGregor's biggest payday so far. I mean that I think that he has made in the UFC, just the strict purses. I'm not talking about any of the pay-per-view buy-in or anything like that, any of that sort of money or endorsement money or anything like that. But he's been making like around a couple of $1 million a fight. You know, the first 3 or 4 fights, he was probably one of the couple $100,000, not even $1 million purses. And so now he's what do they say? He's going to take away 25 plus part of the box office.
Oh yeah, I don't know. The first one of the numbers I've heard is like 75 million total.
Yeah, it's crazy. The amount of money that they're going to make off of this fight is ridiculous.
Mayweather's going to make like 175.
Right.
That's crazy.
I mean, but I'm excited for it. I'm not so much. I haven't been into boxing for a while. It's just,
what I was saying to someone the other day, when I was 8 years old, I knew more boxers than I know now.
Right.
Like when I was 8 years old, it was Oscar De La Hoya, Evander Holyfield. Now,
was Mike Tyson still boxing when you were 8?
Yeah, I was when Mike Tyson bit Holyfield's ear in like 98 or 99.
Okay.
Which is I would have been like 8 or 9. Rashad. When I was 8 years old, I knew more boxers. The thing with boxing now is like, you've heard of Pacquiao and you've heard of Mayweather, and that's it. Like, I don't know, boxing is dying, and it's almost, some people want to say with this fight that it's like, it's putting UFC on the map. Like, but I think that UFC is going to save boxing or help to maybe save boxing by doing this whole thing.
Maybe. And, like it's certainly if we see super fights, coming out where you're crossing sports and having somebody from somewhere come in, if it does prove to be successful, which I mean, there's going to be a lot of people ordering this fight, and then you even see it sort of taking its place in the UFC already, where now you have
wrestlers like Brock Lesnar going into UFC.
Right. And so now that's what I was going to say is the super fight that they were talking about after John Jones regained his belt from Daniel Cormier. The first thing he did was call out Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
So now that's another super fight.
That's another their big, like one of these circus type fights.
Right. But that'll be MMA. It'll be, but it has a little bit of a circusy show feel toward it.
Yeah.
Which is, and now I don't know how much UFC you watched recently, but like it seems like every single fight, what happens afterwards is they say, okay, who do you want to fight next? And then it's like, oh, I'm going to take on this guy. This is who I want to fight. It has sort of like, it has a little bit of a wrestling feel to it, but I still watch it. I still enjoy it.
All right. That concludes Quick Hits. That was a nice long segment, and we'll wrap up the show. We'll wrap it up here in a minute, okay? Okay.
Les Grossman.
We not get money yet. Price now 100 million. You pay now or tomorrow Simple Jack die.
Great. Let me get this down. 100 million. Oh, wait. I got a better idea.
Stay tuned to the couch on 247miami.tv.
Instead of 100 million, how about I send you a hobo's cheese? Then you kill him, do your thing, skin the go to town, man. Go to town.
No.
In the meantime, and as usual, go yourself.
And welcome back to the couch. You're listening to the couch on YouTube right now. We might be getting back up on 24/7 Miami, maybe soon, maybe our own hosting site. Who knows? We're in, but we're getting back at it. We'll be going. I know we've been off for a while, but we're gonna try and really hit it every Tuesday here through the football season for a few months. So we'll get a good run going. We'll get into some cool stuff. We'll try to come up with some new things to do. So it's kind of like a new season of the couch. You know what I mean? It's like
new locations, some more fresh stuff. We're gonna get some.
Like season 2 is over. This is like kind of season 3 of the couch. So we're gonna try and get some new stuff going. But first, let me start with the couch is brought to you by BeastDFS.com. BeastDFS.com is your one-stop shop for daily fantasy analytics. The Beast DFS contains critical, valuable, and insightful information necessary when creating daily fantasy lineups in NFL and NBA. Go to BeastDFS.com and download your copy of the Beast Junior for free today. BeastDFS.com, BeastDFS.com. And now, finally, it is the return of Simple Jack.
Everybody knows you never go full retard.
Goodbye, Mama. Now you can have ice cream in heaven. I'll see you tonight when I go to bed in my head movies. But this head movie makes my eyes rain.
You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
That is correct, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Simple Jack is back and coming out hot tonight.
Yes.
What some people might describe as Demi Moore's favorite segment is brought to us courtesy of CBS Pittsburgh. Police were called to a Uniontown Sheets store late last week. Are you familiar with Sheets, Matt?
Like bed sheets?
No. It is like a Wawa, like a racetrack.
Okay.
It's just
like your local little market, your gas station market.
Yeah. So, police were called to a Uniontown Sheets store after employees noticed an 8-year-old man.
Wait, where's Uniontown?
It's right by Pittsburgh.
Okay, sorry.
They noticed him, an 18-year-old man, behaving suspiciously. An employee approached the man, believing that he was attempting to shoplift, but quickly discovered that his genitals were exposed.
Yes.
And he was masturbating in the chip aisle.
Oh, in the chip aisle. That's an interesting move. Some people would generally go for like the women's cosmetics aisle. Maybe look at like some tampons or like some like razors.
Yeah.
That's usually just where I go.
Yeah, I mean,
women's cosmetics aisle. It's for all of you out there looking to masturbate in a supermarket. That's the best spot.
Maybe the magazine aisle.
Yeah, but then it's too obvious.
Okay. Well, while waiting for police to arrive, the man continued to expose himself to the employees repeatedly. The suspect claimed once police got there that he was simply adjusting himself and that the allegations against him were false.
It took a few minutes.
However, store surveillance video cameras corroborated the employee's claims that he was indeed fondling himself. Authorities say charges of indecent exposure, lewd conduct, and disorderly conduct were filed.
I'm gonna have to say drugs were in play here.
Or
alcohol.
They said that it happened around 2:00 in the morning, so alcohol is probably very likely. One of the employees also said that this sort of thing happens rather frequently.
Okay. So this guy must have just taken it too far. Like at this particular Sheets in Union Station, they, Uniontown. It sounds like this happens a lot. So they're usually like, all right, guy, like get out of here.
Shoo.
This guy didn't shoo and he stuck around too long. Like, all right, we're gonna have to call the cops, dude. You know our rule, only a couple seconds.
Yeah. It's not totally out of the ordinary to hear about somebody behaving in this sort of manner in South Florida, especially, we haven't been hearing a lot about it lately, but when Flacca was a new thing, we had people running around naked in the streets all the time down here. Just sort of thing that sort of, it just happens.
Well, I will say that, running around nude is kind of one thing compared to like actually standing in a store, touching yourself.
Full-blown jerking the
like
gherkin.
If a guy's just running down the street nude, it's almost just like, hey, let him go. Maybe he'll just run home.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll just run home. But you're just like standing in the same spot. Yeah, that's a little more indecent, if you ask me.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Okay. So to end the show, you said that you want to update me on a couple little NBA things. I know the NBA never sleeps for you.
Actually, we've heard while we were gone, Kyrie Irving came out and said that he no longer wanted to play with LeBron James.
Excellent.
He wanted to be a number one, and he could not be a number one under the shadow continuing to play with LeBron James.
Speaking of eclipses.
He wants his own team. He said, and I can't, I'm trying to think. I've got 3 of the teams. He said that he would want to be traded to the Knicks, the Heat, or the Spurs.
Or the...
There was a 4th team on his list, but I can't think.
I think it might have been the Timberwolves.
Was it Minnesota, the Timberwolves?
I think it was Minnesota, which was a little, it was like, but they've got like Ricky Rubio. And,
well, Rubio's in Utah now.
Oh, wait, do they have Rondo?
I don't know where
No,
Rondo's
I think
signed.
Rondo went to the Pelicans. I think he re-met up with DeMarcus Cousins.
Yes, he did.
So who's in Minnesota then? They have a decent point guard.
Chris Dunn got traded to the Bulls.
Chris Dunn got traded to the Bulls. If it's not Rondo,
I don't know who it is.
All right, bad radio.
I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Continue.
But, so what has happened today is Shams Charania and Adrian Wojnarowski are saying that the Celtics and the Cavaliers are piecing together the framework for a Kyrie Irving for Isaiah Thomas trade. This is supposedly going down right now as we speak. I've got both of their notifications turned on Twitter, and my phone just continually blowing up. The latest one says Boston center Ante Zizic is expected to be part of the potential Cleveland deal for Kyrie Irving. So they're putting stuff together. It looks like they're moving forward.
Yeah.
Who knows whether it's actually going to materialize, but that's pretty interesting.
I've got Jeff Teague in Minnesota right now.
Yes, Jeff Teague is there.
And also, very interesting, Jamal Crawford.
Yes.
Minnesota's going to be good.
Yeah. They still have Karl Anthony Towns. They've got Jimmy Butler.
Anthony Wiggins. What else you got? Anything?
So while we were gone, Chris Paul went to the Rockets.
They're trying to get Melo there. Is that getting anywhere?
I have not seen anything. That seems as though it's going to have to come to some sort of an impasse because he still has 2 years left on his deal. There's like $54 million left. Obviously, for him to be able, if they were going to try to buy him out, that's going to be a very expensive buyout, especially with 2 years left on the contract. He at first said that he would accept a trade to the Cavaliers or the Rockets, or he would allow for a buyout. Carmelo has a no-trade clause, so he has to approve anything. After the stuff with Kyrie Irving went down, he said, you know what, never mind. I don't want to go to Cleveland. He's basically said the only situation that he would be willing to accept is the Rockets.
Yeah, and that would make the Rockets good, but that still puts them a Kevin Durant injury away.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I like trades and moves, you know what I mean, especially in the NBA.
Oh, I love Chris Paul. I love Chris Paul at the Rockets for a few reasons. It's going to be fun to just see them figure out who's going to have the ball. I mean, there's only one basketball.
Right.
And Chris Paul and James Harden had to have been top 5 in ball possession time each last year.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And Chris Paul is known to be a ball hog.
Yeah. And
James Harden is coming off
a year where they moved him to point guard and gave him the ball more.
Right.
And he was successful.
I think what they said was, and that they're not going to accept. Chris Paul was not going to be like, okay, I'll go to the Rockets without them talking beforehand. You know what I mean?
Right.
There was some dealings going on there.
So
I think it'll be fun to watch. I think it'll be fun to watch Chris Paul get frustrated with James Harden.
James Harden's defense
on an almost nightly basis.
Yeah.
We had Paul George went to the Thunder.
So now that's a core of Paul George, Westbrook, and Sam Adams. Is that his name? What's his name?
Who?
The big white Australian center.
He's still there.
What's his name though? I want to say it's Sam Adams, but that's the beer.
It's not Sam Adams.
Steven Adams,
yes.
So
the tooth.
Again, another team that would need a serious injury to Golden State to have a chance.
And we just while we're speaking, I don't know how much time we have left here. Cleveland and Boston have an agreement on the deal. Kyrie Irving will waive his trade kicker to complete Cleveland's deal to Boston.
There it is.
The Celtics are sending Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, Ante Zizic, and Brooklyn's 2018 first-round pick for Kyrie Irving. Source, The Vertical, Shams Charania.
All right, so
this is happening. This is breaking.
Yeah, via The Vertical and breaking from The Vertical and breaking on the couch, the Celtics and the Cavaliers have agreed to trade Isaiah Thomas and Kyrie Irving amongst sounds like a boatload of other Celtics and picks, all for just Kyrie Irving.
Correct. As that's the details that have come out so far. Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. What an amazing way to end the show. We just broke some huge news. That's amazing. That's amazing what we just did there. All
5 of you listening right now, you just got some exclusive information that you could only find out everywhere on the internet.
Right. Text your friends, let them know you got the scoop first on the couch. So yeah, that being said, this has been an amazing episode of The Couch. Hopefully we get it figured out and we'll get Manny back in studio. But either way, we're looking to go every Tuesday here for a good foreseeable future through football season. We're going to be every Tuesday, anywhere between 6 and 7, tentative start times. We never really know.
Yeah.
We shoot from the hip around here.
We like to keep it loose.
We'll send out links to everything. You always be able to find us, text us, whatever, if you're trying to get the show. This has been The Couch. Matt and Coleman, good night.
Peace out.